I can't tell you how to feel about it. I can't tell you how to deal with it. Only thing that I can tell you is that I've been through it. I still am going through it. I still have to battle my demons. It's still a struggle every day, but every day gets better. This is not to shift any blame or make excuses. Uh, this is an effort to tell my story in hopes that if someone else has gone through similar, or someone else is going through a tough time, that maybe they can have hope that one day they can have freedom from it. I am far from free of everything, and this life has definitely had its ups and downs, a lot of downs, but it's it gets better. It gets better. So just have hope that it can change. It can get better any day. Every day is a new day. So April 11th, 1977, I was born in Portsmouth, Virginia at the Naval Hospital. My biological father was in the Navy at the time. I have no memories of him at that moment. He wasn't there. Him and my mother got a divorce. My mother would not let him see me, so I never had my biological father there. My mother wasn't around much either. So I remember living with my aunt and uncle in Pennsylvania for a summer. I think I was about 2. Lived at my grandparents' house. My mother would be there sometimes, but she was hardly around. Was watched by other siblings, by her siblings. So before the age of 3, I don't have a whole lot of memories. There are a few of them there. Most important is it was the first puff of a cigarette, the first sip of a beer, and my first night terror. And night terrors, do not be confused with nightmares. Not the same thing. A night terror is being physically awake, aware of your surroundings, but your mind casting that nightmare into your environment. So it is not a nightmare. It's far worse. So those are the 3 memories that I remember before 3. Well, eventually my mother took me. She found another man. They got married, and we lived in a trailer park. So when I explained to you what this man did, I apologize. It has to be told in the way that it happened so that you would understand. So the first memory of this man that I have, he was giving me a bath. When he went to rinse the shampoo out of my hair, he pushed my head under the water, and he held me there as I squirmed and kicked and tried whatever I could to get free so that I could breathe and not drown. And he laughed. He was laughing the whole time. I couldn't even tell you what this man looks like to this day. That was my image of him, distorted, laughing, smiling through the splashing water. After that point, I never looked him in the face again. Just enjoyed tormenting me. There's one time my mother came home and he was watching me, and he said, "Quick, let's play hide and seek. Let's hide from your mother." He lifted up the couch cushion. He had me crawl in it, under it. He put the cushion back on and sat on me. And I couldn't breathe. I mean, you're talking, 180, 200-pound man sitting on a little 3-year-old boy under the cushion. I was suffocating. I couldn't breathe, and I was screaming and yelling and trying to get out. And he laughed. He thought it was funny, And when my mother came in, that's when he got up off of me, and basically I was being a big baby. I was already afraid of this man. So for what he had done already. So a third memory that I have of him, as a little boy, experiencing wearing underwear, for the first time, whatever. I might have been dirty, whatever. I mean, trying to make excuses because there's still some shame there of what others might think, because I had an issue where my penis was uncomfortable and I would have to reposition it. There shouldn't be any shame in that. I mean, grown men readjust their penis all the time now. It's just something that you do. But I carried shame that I was doing something wrong, because it kept irritating me and I kept moving it. And this man would yell at me and tell me to stop playing with it. That's not at all what I was doing. I was 3 years old. I mean, come on. I was adjusting it. So after probably third or fourth time, this man told me that if I play with it again, he was going to cut it off. So me being 3, not thinking about it, I did it. Had to readjust it. It was uncomfortable. So this man made me go into the kitchen and get a knife and bring it to him. He made me pull my pants down. He grabbed my penis in one hand and put the knife up to it and looked me right in the face. And I couldn't look him in the eye, but he was right in my face, and he said, "I told you, if you play with it again, I'm going to cut it off." I have no way of knowing if he truly would. And, I still have my penis, thank God. So, but I do remember my mother sitting there on the bed next to us watching, and the only thing she did was say, no, stop it. Now, I don't want to speak ill of my mother. I love her, and she did the best that she could. I know. So I love you, Mom. Rest in peace. So anyway, after this, my mother divorced him. I think they were together for 3 months. Got an abortion, and we moved out of state. So we moved to Colorado. We were going to a family's house that my grandparents had knew. Someone that they knew from the past. So my mother went out there to, it was kind of an arrangement because they had a son that didn't have anybody and was kind of headed nowhere, whatever. My mother, same situation. So it was almost like they were purposely put together to get my mother out, somewhere else and find a man and whatever. So my grandparents knew this family quite well. So the very first night I got there, so this time I was 4. So this man that they tried to hook my mother up with, the son, the boy, he became my dad. So eventually they got married, and he was the best dad I ever had. Again, don't want to speak ill of the dead or whatever. He ended up being my dad. So the first night at this house, this boy, who was probably 15, 16, I was 4. He came down the stairs and he was like, hey, come here, I want to show you something. Took me upstairs to his room, opened up his closet. That was the first time that I was introduced to pornography. He had magazines, and he showed me, his collection of Barbie dolls that were his sex toys, whatever. 4 years old, very first night in Colorado at my dad's mom's house. So I refused to call her grandmother, and you'll know why. But thank you for taking the time to listen and try to be the light.